Hi, and welcome to another 5 Minutes with Mark. I know it's been a while. Holy Week was kind of busy and there was a lot of stuff going on, but I'm glad to be joining you again. We're in chapter 7, verses 31 to 37. Then he, Jesus, returned from the region of Tyre and went by way of Sidon toward the Sea of Galilee in the region of the Decapolis. They brought to him a deaf man who had an impediment in his speech, and they begged him to lay his hand on him. He took him aside in private, away from the crowd, and put his fingers into his ears, and he spat and touched his tongue. Then he looked up to heaven. He sighed and said to him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. And immediately his ears were opened, his tongue was released, and he spoke plainly. Then Jesus ordered them to tell no one, but the more he ordered them, the more zealously they proclaimed it. They were astonished beyond measure, saying, he has done everything well. He even makes the deaf to hear and the mute to speak. So Jesus has gone back to the land of the Gentiles. And so this miracle that's performed is performed presumably on a Gentile, on a non-Jew. Once again, opening Jesus up to criticism for religious leaders, but also opening up to a more universal message. And there's a couple of things in here that are quite interesting. We know that this deaf man had an impediment in speech. We don't really know what that means. We don't know if he's been deaf since birth. We don't know if he became deaf. We really don't know what happened. And we also don't know who the they are. They brought him. What we do know is this man is presented to Jesus and he cannot hear, and what he says cannot be understood. And so Jesus took the man aside in private, away from the crowd, put his fingers in his ears, spat, touched his tongue, and said, be opened. And immediately, the text says, number 15, his ears were opened, his tongue was released, and he spoke plainly. Then Jesus ordered them to tell no one. So there's a couple of things that are going on here, or could be going on here. And I think that are really important. Throughout Mark, and as we move a little bit further into Mark, that whole idea of hearing and that whole idea of seeing, because Jesus is going to have encounters with blind that he allows to see, with this deaf man that he allows to hear. In these encounters, it's always more than just hearing, and it's always more than just seeing. It's more of a realization, or it's an understanding, or it's coming to an understanding. It's seeing and knowing, it's hearing and knowing. It's hearing and understanding, seeing and understanding. And so really in this text, as we're talking about Jesus healing this man, whatever is behind it, there's this idea that the man now more fully understands Jesus and his ministry. And as to the speech impediment, again, we don't know what that was. One of the commentators I read suggests that this might have been some type of a demonic possession. Again, the idea that he cannot speak clearly, but once Jesus has healed him, he can. And so that just kind of plays into this whole idea of hearing and understanding, and of speaking out of understanding. And the last part is pretty normal. Jesus ordered them to tell no one, but the more he ordered them, the more zealously they proclaimed it. And so was Jesus using reverse psychology, knowing if he said don't, they would? Were they so excited by what they saw in Jesus, so astounded that they could do nothing except tell? I'm not sure, but we're going to encounter this kind of command from Jesus again. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.